what will it actually be? Next is Roy. Yeah, here we have the YouTube thing working also. So first thing actually is, before anything else, start the timer. Yeah. Now we share this thing, copy this link. I can paste it here first and foremost. I mute this thing because I need to hear it. What? What? It didn't conserve anyways. What happens if I go back? What? What? What happened? Did they finally fix the whole... Was I taking advantage of a bug or something? What's going on? Like... What? Excuse me? What happened, man? Okay, just in case there is something funny. Change account. Can you remain with this account in the right place, basically? For the love of God. Here. Yeah. Now I can paste this over here. And it should work like intended, actually. Okay, there we go. For some random reason it wasn't working like it should have. It should have been working, yes, in the YouTube end. Sometimes can happen, I guess. Can very much be the case. Shut up, brother. Shut up. True. Works. Besides that, let me close this. Let me open. Let me drop the. Yeah, let me set up and drop the link in Discord. What a life. What an existence, I guess. I don't know. I don't really have a way of knowing it. Something like that, probably. Plus this thing over here. Today. There we go. Yeah, we're gonna try to commit to playing Bloons. I don't know, I don't really want to change the game actually, but I feel like it's always a possibility, you know, but at the very same time it's not really a necessity, not really an obligation, not really something to actually try to do. I prefer to do one thing and one thing only. It is possible to do other stuff, but it doesn't mean that we have to. Actually, yeah, I don't think it's that complicated in terms of, oh, wow, why do you have that sensation? Yeah. At least for me, it makes me nervous to feel that, oh yeah, let's play these 20 games on stream. I don't know. Even something along the lines of even when people do stuff like playing, what's the name of it? When people play multiple demos, you know, the whole something that nowadays has actually been standardized, basically. I don't know how much of a good idea in itself it is, but the whole sensation of sadly, it has too much of a shared theme with the whole fact that indeed this is way too focused, too oriented to a lower attention threshold, basically. When, in this case, when it isn't really that necessary, it doesn't happen because we had to finish the game or because we are forced to end the run of something else or whatever. It's more along the lines of, okay, I got bored of the other thing, and I don't know. I don't think in itself it's not bad to get bored of what you're doing in a way. It's not like, yeah, you have to always possess your entire attention to what you're doing. Not that message, but the idea, the notion of, I don't know, man. I feel like when I walk early, to some degree, it's quite good to actually have the possibility of saying, I know that I could get bored with other things, basically, so I will instead remain here with these things. I will instead do this handful of things, basically, which is otherwise necessarily normal, I guess, yeah. The whole aspect of, so you didn't think out that yourself. Good. There is literally no reason for you to worry about it, I guess. I don't know. I don't think it's bad. I just think it's strange to see. I just believe it's better to keep it on one thing and one thing only myself. But yeah, that's my point of view, not really the thing that we have to agree with. So, whatever. Besides that, let me actually start setting up the game because I never in my life set up this game, so I don't even know if it is going to be easy or not. Listen. Here comes. I don't. Do I have the music on even? I don't know. I think I played this game entirely muted, right? Like, yeah. I activated the desktop audio just to have no audio whatsoever. What the fuck? Social season. Global goal. Earn cash. Team trophies, medals, perks, unique pets. What the fuck is all of this? Are we going to read this? I guess so. I mean, I didn't see it myself, so it would be quite rude to skip all of that text when I indeed have no clue about what it says. Let me place myself in the right position over here, I think it is. Also, what's up? It's because the bananas are green. It makes sense. Fuck, wait. I have you don't get what I'm talking about. Watch this. I found a PNC. The problem is that PNC utilizes green bananas. So I will need to find a different PNC for today. Because without this guy. No. Open image. There we go. The question is now, does this image download as a PNG? No, as a web. Okay, we're gonna waste some extra seconds transforming web to PNG. Give me a second. Before I convert my beloved, come here, I need you right now. I am requiring your assistance. Drop, there we go, convert. Uploading, finishing, converting, download. Save. There we go, and I can delete the other one, yeah. Now, give me a second. Drop. Change this into this. It goes here. Don't zoom in actually. And over there, and it should work supposedly. Wait. There we go. Okay, we have the PNC, the very tiny PNC. So that's one thing, and the other one is the game capture. This one, this process. Do you recognize it, brother? Yes, there we go. Wow, I didn't even need to update. It instantaneously did. Ah, amazing. Good, good. Okay, we have everything. The the only issue is when I need like a second to actually go into the game and activate the audio. I will have it. I will have it activated. So, unsurprisingly, it's gonna take a while. Um, but yeah, social seasons. Basically, this Dr. Monkey needs you out. The monkeys have been cooking up new ideas to try on the battlefield. Grab your team, complete goals, and try out the newest innovations. Understandable new perks, new unique pet, new medals, and the team trophies which aren't new. Season perks. The social season event will be active for 2 weeks, and the season lasts until the next one begins. Good. So they finally implemented seasons, basically, no? Like pull together with all the other teams to beat the season global goal to earn more perks and the season exclusive pet. Understandable. Team goal. What? Individual goal. Complete individual goals to earn stars to add to your team goals. The more stars you collect, the more rewards you earn for yourself and your team. These modes don't allow contributions to social season events. Free play, advanced challenges, deflation, quests, lessons, and races. Understandable. Go? Is this? Teams. Yeah. Okay, so this is me. And yeah, quite difficult to have my team play with me. But anyways, point is audio. That's the point. Yeah. The problem is when I. What's up? Is there no music whatsoever? Why is it muted? What's going on? Do I have it muted from the audio mixer? Ah, yeah, I do. There we go. Is it everlasting loud? Mildly. Let me lower it a little bit. Okay. The question is there. I like how. Yeah, I was gonna say. Is there anything actually chill, but not really? I don't think so. Haunted house. We can hear that. We can burn our head with haunted house and what else? Sales? No. Primal one? No. Winter? Tropical? Sunset? I guess Sunset, Haunted House, Sunset Samba, and what else? This one is chill enough, it feels like, so yeah. With these 3-4 songs, we're over. What are we gonna be playing? Just random stuff, actually. I don't have much else to. I don't really have a goal. I just wanted to play something more calm that I can actually disconnect to compared to the other stuff. The issue is I forget that I can do it. So yeah, it's quite a challenge actually. Quite a complicated thing to be capable of remembering that. Ah no, yeah, you don't truly need to worry about this stuff. You can just calm down, do something as simple as this. There is always I wouldn't say an exigence in terms of an obligation, but certainly an existing interest, not interest, willfulness to focus a lot more on anything related to yeah, let's try to make sure that we're doing something hyper. So yeah, we bring to you today a change in pace with this. But anyways, now for real, after how much did it actually take? Also, if I doubt, yeah, the game keeps playing. After 15 minutes, we are finally here, capable of saying, yeah, it has welcome. Welcome. First and foremost, welcome. It has been a long time. It has been actually a long time. I don't know, sometimes I always say it. I do sometimes feel like it has not really been that long. Like, it's almost like when I get to end stream, I will have the lingering sensation of, yeah, so much time has passed since the last time that we were here and the next one. And in terms of perhaps it doesn't even get to feel like one day passed, or more appropriately, it's like in my perception of time, it gets to feel like not even a handful of days, not a handful, not even a handful of hours went through or occurred between the last time that we were here and the next one, basically. And at other times, not really. Today, I can say it feels like it has been so long since the last time that I was here. I don't really have the capacity to explain it exactly in terms of why it happens, but yeah, it's good to be back, basically. It's great. And I don't know. Besides all of that, because as I was saying, today is chill game day. Why? I haven't thinking quite a lot, man. It has been an entertaining handful of days, and at the very same time, so much happens around, so much goes on, so many things to think out, so much to wonder about also. It's so crazy. Life is a surprising thing always. It's quite beautiful actually to get the opportunity to process and to focus on all the occurrences and whatnot. And while that is true, there is also quite an absence, so to speak, of, it doesn't entirely feel like something hyper intense, so not so relevant, but rather so demanding of attention goes on. There is always, in a more basic level, a very low barrier of, yeah, you have to be, let's say it like this, you have to be willing to pay attention to a handful of things which are hyper specific enough to take it, which you need to be putting yourself into making sure that those basic aspects of life are going well enough. But after that, everything else is a lot simpler, a lot calmer. There is, in the day-to-day life, most things get to be resolved, even if there is a sensation of a drama from the personal perspective of, so many things of relevance going on, and so many things of substance happening, and so much of what I get to go through myself, also having that calmness itself. In the end, it doesn't really feel like much actually ends up being that relevant, I guess. It's good to have the opportunity to be worried, but also the worries that one possesses, the worries that one can carry, don't end up being all that worrisome, so to speak. Like, one of the many dreams is to believe that what is important in the moment of noticing an event will remain important forever after, and even after all the worrying that occurs in one's own life, it is after just a couple of days or a couple of weeks or a couple of months that most of those very same situations then get to feel a lot more calm. And yeah, it's because of that I don't know, it is with relative ease that everything is actually happening. Not once you actually consider it, not much actually goes on, not much actually happens, not much of life is actually all that overwhelming, so to speak, or all that negative in any light. So it's great. It ends up being quite quite more acceptable, quite more survivable, and it always leaves to the opportunity, to the chance, to the freedom of trying to think out the stuff, I guess, to the freedom of trying. Life itself offers you the pathway of either I can try to get out what's going on, or I can remain completely oblivious to the chance that is being given to me in terms of I could perhaps try in one way or another to make sure that what I am experiencing makes some, not some sense, but rather leaves some longer lasting impression on me, basically. And once the person believes that it isn't really necessary to do that, it is that the downtimes that one experiences, the instants of calm that go, that simply occur in life, lose all their significance. It's, I don't know, it's like the analogy of if you are worried, not worried, sorry, if you're in your life busy enough with many other completely different things to the point to which you end up missing out on the possibility of learning, for example, what a phone is. One day you encounter a phone finally, and you don't even have a clue what a phone is. You cannot do anything out that. You cannot do anything out what the phone itself represents. You don't have any saying in utilizing the phone. You have no way of utilizing this tool. The very same thing happens in most of the downtime that life offers. There is quite a, I wouldn't call it freedom. I don't think it is exactly freedom, but simply a huge deal of opportunities present for the person who can actually express an interest on experiencing in itself all those pathways that open up once you can actually try to look at things from beyond the perspective of just this is worrisome in itself and nothing else. Because life can be worrisome, but once again, everything ends up passing. The whole aspect of, basically what I have already explained. Luckily enough, even the biggest of dramas at some point loses its weight. I don't know exactly how to call it. I don't think it is exactly just the weight. It's like the substance, the thing that you can look at and say, this makes it so much more meaningful, so much more important to be interested in, so much more useful to be worried out and whatnot. All of those things, once they get to go, once you get to not give them such a primacy, such a place in life, it becomes then the reality that then it's quite great, and life works. I don't know exactly how to say it in terms of, I don't think it simply works out. It's the constant necessary flow of action and the constant necessary utilization of one's own energy in order to make it properly work, so to speak. Like, it does work to some degree, yes, but it also does require quite a lot of input from those who are living life, in terms of, it doesn't matter how, can I not change this? There we go, thank you. It doesn't matter how great or what things are, if I myself am not participant in any of those things, basically. And this is so to the degree to which you can even reach the conclusion of, and it also is quite beautiful to have the possibility of, in itself, considering, thinking about, and there are so many other layers to what goes on in my own life and whatnot. So in that sense, it is that this handful of days that I get to transcur are always nice. It's I don't know, they always come with some other issues to some degree in terms of it will be always far more wonderful to get to continue some other things, to get to progress on other aspects, to get to move on and continue adding and continue performing the necessary aspects in what one is looking forward to and what not. But it also sometimes does happen that no matter how much you're interested in something, it's time always moves so much slower than what we can ever anticipate, sadly, to the point to which I don't think it is all that surprising, but at this point I am not so much surprised after quite a handful of days of having tried to do it like that. Hi, welcome, Bloons. Indeed. Here we have it. The very same Bloons. And I don't know, I'm just rambling, I guess. I am that kind of guy who likes to ramble. So that's all that I can give you as an introduction. Welcome. I don't know, what else? Bloons? Indeed, Bloons. We shall be playing Bloons. That's the whole objective of today, so I hope you like Bloons. Indeed. But no, yeah. I was saying basically that, and I don't know, it's one gets accustomed to things, and once you finally get accustomed to stuff, it loses that factor of yeah, this is actually so surprising. This is actually so amazing even. Wanna do some co-op? Maybe, perhaps. Let me finish this. We're like, we, plural. I am like round 77. Okay. Give me 2 minutes, 3 minutes. I wanna do round 100. After that, yeah, we can do lobbies, I guess. I mean, not I guess. Yes, we can. But yeah. Let me get the furry Insta monkey. There is nothing better than the furry Insta monkey. But yeah. I was saying, and I don't know, I feel like it's always strange when you forget what it used to be, how surprising things get to feel like and whatnot. Because to some degree, it's always something that catches you by surprise, so to speak. The realization of, things do take so long sometimes. The mind, I feel like it's not that strange in itself, but also not that talked out also. On the other hand, the mind possesses quite a significant capacity to project onto the future, as well as it does to also think out the past, basically, no? I can... Thank you for the follow, man. You can always look at things that happened before. Okay, there we go. Give me 2 minutes. I promise I'm not going to take that long. I want the furry Insta monkey. It's an obsession of mine. I don't know, people forget about the Insta monkey, and then it becomes the pain of, oh no, yeah, I have to grind so much. It's not really that much that you have to grind. If you're going to anyways be grinding for medals, then doing also the Insta monkey grinding while you're doing maps is not that bad, you know? But yeah, I was saying, and I don't know, I feel like it's always strange that at a very first glance, you can visualize so many things, you can realize so much of what you want to do, so many aspects of what you want to act upon, and be interested on and such, and the conclusion, you can reach internally a conclusion, but it doesn't avoid or remove the factor of, but this notion that I possess myself isn't entirely aligned with what is going to happen in reality in terms of time. I can think out so many wonderful things, yet at the same time, this is going to take so much longer than what I can actually anticipate. To the degree to which I guess, yeah, you can even say it's probably desperating to some degree, the whole realization of, wow, I have my desires and my interests and my aspirations, and to have to contend with the passage of time. Once you actually understand what you want, to have to contend with the need to wait is, I wouldn't say entirely exasperating, but certainly nerve-wracking enough to the point to which it's I don't know, I feel like it's always strange to talk about life in that sense. It's something that we all learn to do, but at the same time it's also not something that you entirely see being done with all honesty, so to speak. I don't feel like other people can grasp how wonderful it is to have enough patience actually about this stuff. How beautiful it is to actually be willing to wait for years out some things, and that is strange. I always look at the world and all of that with that strange sensation myself. It's great, and it's something that can be encouraging to realize, yeah, we're all to some degree waiting on things. We're all to some degree here, trying to make sure that whatever we're hoping for comes through, with the added, not exactly wait, but just cost of requiring to be willing to actually sit down and let things play out, let things happen. And it's good that it happens in itself, but also my point remains still. It's surprising to see how much it is underappreciated, how much it is taken for granted. I feel like it's like one of those qualities that we tend to develop, but we do not expect to talk about, we do not expect to comment on. Nobody has an interest to say, yeah, you did well enough because you learned to wait. So much of life depends on that very same capacity, and yet in the end, when it comes down to this person has properly learned to do this thing, doesn't matter. It isn't given the proper recognition. It isn't in any way seen as something that plays any role in their life. Basically, it's like, unavoidably, you always need to have that, but once you have it, also, this is around 100 actually, so we're good. Laverick, or I actually didn't even ask how to say your name. Excuse me, Laverick. Is it the real Laverick? Yes. If you're still here, we can finally play co-op. Excuse me for taking so long. Is friend Laverick here? Is time to make social, or what do we do? Also, what? Achieve tier 1 in any stage in a social season? Wow! So this is actually new. Interesting. Wow. And how do we actually claim stuff? From here? Is this the social season thing? No. This is contested territory. This? Goals. This? Beat? Earn. Beat? What? Goals? Here. Understandable. 41. No. 10,000. You are crazy if you think I can get 10,000. Like, how many people will that need to be playing to get 10,000? That's crazy. That's actually crazy. Anyways. What a schizophrenic thing. No, interesting is interesting enough. But yeah, Mr. Lyric, excuse me if you're still here, but since you don't seem to, let me continue. 3 or 3 anyways. But yeah, I was saying basically, and I don't know, it's in the whole realization that you always require to have that aspect present, to have that process going on, and all of that happening in a way in which you're willing to let things just be. It also is surprising to see, therefore. It goes back to what I was saying before. If you need to wait so much for things, if you are almost obliged to have that happen, on one hand, while do I have this? No, so I have to use this. Okay. It's almost the most logical thing in itself. That yeah, therefore it becomes the thing of most substance to get to appreciate, so to speak, that indeed I am doing these things and I am willing to participate in these aspects of reality, while also I allow this other piece of my own life to transcur. And I don't know exactly where it falls, and under which umbrella it falls, basically. I think one of the few things that I don't really get to enjoy so much is the realization that, yeah, if you are talking about having this quality in this way, then you're already participating in this, in the notion of, therefore, something along the lines of, I don't know, mental health or sanity or therapy speech or self-actualization. I don't think it is that complicated, so to speak. It's a lot simpler, simply because it is out something almost universal, so to speak. Like, don't we all get to just enjoy that very same holy? I think I can deal with this. I don't know. Anyways, doesn't matter if I lose some lives. Can happen. Can that happen? Indeed, it can happen. Can absolutely happen. Give me this one just in case. True. But yeah, I was saying, and I don't know, it's always strange to see how it gets framed as this or that. I think it's human development in general, something basic, something prone to be present on anybody. The capacity to just let things be, let things happen, let things exist in themselves, and not much else. And the unnecessary side of, yeah, this becomes now the thing that I worry about, this becomes now the thing that I let my life be centered around and whatnot, and I don't like so much the notion that it carries with itself of, yeah, this is going to be so much of a weight and so much of an issue and so much of a problem. It's strange to always see that be the case, and instead it should just be, once again, it's just something present by default in existence. Like, I am trying to live my life, which with itself carries also the necessary weight of, I am also trying to live something that I can call a good life. In the very concept of living my own life, I am implying that I'm trying to live a good life. I cannot truly enjoy my life unless it is good in itself. I end up sadly having a hard time, because the time that I get to spend doing things has to be spent on, the time that I spend on doing things has to be spent on doing good things, because if it isn't, I don't think I can actually just live an existence which seems to in no way whatsoever bring me any satisfaction or bring me any kind of reward or whatever. It's quite necessary to actually possess that quality in itself, you know? I have to be capable of. Give me this also, because I'm about to slowly destroy myself by not putting any more towers. I think I didn't have to override to tier 3 also. Probably maybe I screwed up. If it is over, it is over, and that's such a sad thing to see happen, and nothing else to really do about that. Wow. Oh no, we lost. We try again, I guess. But yeah, I was saying basically. Automatic, yeah. And I don't know, it always feels therefore strange to see that, no, yeah, this is so significant and so necessary to worry about and whatnot. But not from this perspective. You can talk about all of these concepts, but not from this light of, yeah, sadly, you should be quite willing to bring forward the realization, the discussion, the conversation that, yeah, because I am interested in this thing, because I want to at all do something about this, then that comes also with the added weight, with the added cost, with the necessary part of, and I am therefore including in the things that I do, in the things that I let happen, that I make happen, also a conscious effort in ensuring, in participating in the act of grasping in a reasonable manner what is the thing that I am so worried about without any more of the weight of, oh wow, because this is going to take some amount of time, then that means that it is going to be bad. That's the strange thing that exists almost always of, yeah, you need to, you will think out your life. No matter what happens, you will think out your life. And because you will do that, there is no way in which you can counteract, distract yourself from the reality that there are so many other uncontrollable aspects to it, which will somehow negate you from an enjoyable existence, so to speak, a mode of referring to things which implies or forces almost a light or a view, a perspective on things that makes, once again, what I'm talking about, the capacity to just let the passage of time stop being an impediment. That very same thing also comes with the added cost of, but it doesn't really matter if you're capable of grasping that in any way whatsoever, because even if you can, even if you're capable of finally realizing that it will be something that will happen, but you don't have to drown in the worry of it being, so to speak. Even if that is the case, also I just realized I needed to put this like 10 minutes earlier. We're gonna be quite poor this game. Maybe. Can happen. Anyways. So, with the realization of, wow, I am quite capable of actually getting some degree of understanding of realization about what has to do with the very aspect then of how to deal now with something that is supposedly universal. We refer to it as an unavoidability almost, so maybe it truly is. We are not entirely sure if it is or not. We can only say that we all seem to agree on it being such, to the degree to which, even if it isn't, we have gotten accustomed enough to making it look like it truly is just a never-present part in our existence. And while this happens, in the other hand, that very same maturation doesn't get contemplated on the perspective of. But besides me getting to understand it as something unavoidable, I can also not struggle because it is so, like, the implication that you will get to discover that things require time doesn't carry with itself the implication that you're going to be capable of managing that. It's weird to see how much, not of an emphasis, but simply of an acceptance there is towards the notion that, you are going to be doing something in regards to the things that you care about, and in regards to the things that you're working on, and in regards to all of those aspects of existence that you love to do something about. And that thing that you do, that thing that you bring forward, will not truly be in itself in any manner entirely admissible by you as something realistic, as something that you are not overwhelmed by, basically. It's almost like you are going to be yourself, you are going to do something with your existence, but that thing which you do in the end is going to consume you in one way or another. And you don't get to even know if it is something like in a positive light, in a positive manner or not, that it happens. You will just know that it will happen. It is bound to happening, but you don't know even if you can actually deal with it yourself or not. You only know that it is bound to be, and nothing else to add to it. You are incapable of ever directing anything or deciphering if you are going to be overwhelmed by this very same unavoidable aspect of being or not, to the degree to which then it does feel like almost unavoidably the conclusion is, therefore most certainly, most probably, you are going to struggle here. And I don't know, I like the notion that we don't need so much guidance. It is respectable that you can think about someone else and not think so little of them as to imply, so to speak, that you have to necessarily give them such a huge assistance in their life, basically. But on the other hand, on the other side of on the flip side, it also is weird to see how it gets used. Also, finally, I get this upgrade. I was grinding for this also. The mega massive munitions factory, amazing. I was looking to get that unlock for, I think, the last 3 or 4 times that I played this game, actually. Also, let me actually check. Is there any other mega monkey that I should try to unlock that I haven't unlocked yet? Like, for some reason I haven't really added that many, what is it, Paragon or Parangon towers lately. I mean, it's understandable in terms of quite hard to say that they are all necessary. So yeah, no wonder they aren't really adding that many lately. No, yeah, they are. So far they are good. They added some of the most significant anyways, so whatever, I was saying basically. And yeah, I don't know. It is this degree of a struggle that I don't really get to say is great in some way or another. I understand that it is good that we can go through things, but not in that light of, no, yeah, it doesn't matter at all. It's weird to see how much of what later on, not words in this case are failing me. It's something along the lines of, unavoidably you're going to see so many people at some point express their discontent with all of these things, to the degree to which you wonder then if this is something that poses such an issue for everyone present, Why are we unwilling to ever say anything about all of these things ourselves? Like, why are we all here acting like it doesn't matter at all? That, yeah, you have to grind so hard, so to speak. You have to try so much to finally be capable of possessing a healthy balance with what is any conception of time, so that you, in the end, the most important conclusion, you are not consumed by the realization that indeed, I have to wait for things. You don't destroy your very existence in the face, in the challenge of, I simply have to be what I get to be, and this beingness is something that will take so much time. It's the very, just like with many other facets of life, simply the eternal question of why is this so normalized, so taking as fine, when in the moment in which you think about it, in the moment in which you express yourself about it, you sound so angry that it is the case anyways. It's one thing. A completely different issue to illustrate the notion is, we all understand how absolutely annoying it is to be aware that, yeah, no matter what, today there are still people out there dying of hunger. Like, if you can grasp how or why that is something annoying, you don't really have much more to ask in general. In that sense, there are some problems that don't get to have the characteristic of being solvable by us, no matter how much we are willing to put forward of ourselves. They remain unsolvable. And while this is the case, there are some other things that occupy so much of our existence, that are so common to see across all of our lives, which don't really need to be. Like, I am stopped by so many different powers. I, as a singular person, cannot go out there and try to liberate the masses of the issue that is world hunger, so to speak. Like, realistically enough, I can get to accept why that is such a problem. But on the other hand, something that is so universal, that has always been the case, we all must suffer the journey of getting to a healthy resolution about what is a concept and notion of, yeah, indeed, today I will have to put much of myself forward, much of what I am trying to achieve, of what I am trying to do, in order to get to deal, to finally interiorize that, yeah, what I'm looking towards, just, if it is going to happen, as long as I make sure that it is going to happen, requires time. And it's, I say it more than anything else, it sounds really inconclusive in terms of why is this so necessary to think out, because I feel like sadly there are so many portions of what ends up being the general experience also in relation to that. There are so many aspects that have to deal with that very, yeah, with the entire realization also. I get myself to actually understand, accept, interiorize quite a lot that, and you know what? Sometimes it does matter quite a lot if I can have enough patience or not about things. And it's related to everything, I guess. I say it as if it was something that just applies to some very life in itself, and all the situations that have to deal with the person require so many worries that are unsolvable. But there is a particular center which gets to be in itself eased once you finally realize that, yeah, indeed, I am not suffering as much anymore, thanks to my realization that indeed I myself am existing more. I didn't know that you would in round 99 ball and in round 100 reinforced ball actually. But anyways, I got my reinforced, my free insta monkey, so acceptable. Yeah, acceptable. And so, now I finally got what we wanted, so what do we actually use now? Do I not use this anymore? What do we actually use? What do you use to generate cash? This thing? I think I like the bounty hunter. The only problem is the bounty hunter requires me to actively play the game. Oh no. Why do you do this to me? If not, I think since they reworked the Spirit of the Forest and the Sangles Bounty one. No, I mean, well, no. Being realistic, they give cash. Yeah, they do show AFK now. Yeah, I was still thinking about the older version. Anyways, I was saying basically, and I don't know. I feel like it's always something strange to contemplate in terms of yeah, so much of a necessary aspect of life, so much of a necessary worry, but at the same time, something that you cannot get any help with, you cannot get any access to an understanding about from anywhere else. You need to go through that yourself. And I don't know, I feel like it's inconclusive, damaging, probably. Very, from its very conception, I would say, yeah, very capable of harming more than anything else, because it's good that we can trust in the potentiality of others, in the abilities to deal with the world. But since this is so much of a universal, shouldn't it be more widespread? The understanding about this culturally, that's also the issue here. I had to have a solution given to me the moment in which I finally open my mouth about it, which is great to some degree. To some other degree, we have an entire educational system based around the concept of I don't really care about what you express you want to learn about. Why is that very same thing something that in the end is so great to be capable of seeing, not equally included there? So much of being taken as not a useless aspect, but rather a thing that plays no role in what we do, in what we go through, and what not. Also, let me plus the cash per banana farm in the fluid. I think it was based on the druid and other druid, like banana farms and other druids that the druid had around itself, but understandably enough, it doesn't work like that. So yeah, I was saying, and I don't know, I feel like it's always strange to realize, yeah, therefore, you know what, it's all of that is going to be present and all of that is going to be affecting you, and if you decide to open your mouth about this, we can teach you something, but otherwise don't expect any kind of assistance when it comes to the realization that, yeah, indeed, so much of life is about waiting, so much of being is based on the very same notion that you will have to sit down, to let things happen, and to let things be, and it's useful on the side, or I'm not really saying that it is useful actually. I'm trying to say it's great that we can try to trust enough the validity of letting things just take as long as they need to so that you can finally reach the conclusion yourself instead of being given that conclusion and being forced to reach a certain understanding which you might not be all that capable of actually grasping yourself, so to speak, which is respectable as a method in terms of we can, the human deserves to struggle simply because they are human. So it's good that you are willing to do that, because simply that means that in the case of you finding a solution, you did it with your own two hands. You have accomplished something of a huge significance, which so many other people would give up everything for, basically, which in the end isn't all that unrealistic in terms of this highly necessary conclusion is great to have had, but there is also a weird way of thinking about it in terms of you don't need my guidance whatsoever. You're going to figure it out by yourself, and you're going to be capable of reaching some conclusion without any kind of assistance from me. You're just wasting your time asking for me, and the condescending aspect of, if I give you anything, I think both sides end up being hard, basically. If I give you anything, you're going to be damaged. I have no healthy way of giving you this realization, this revelation, this notion, basically. And you have no way of ever talking about that yourself without being hurt, basically. You have no manner in which I can try to offer the notion itself to you without you resulting in some new way, shape, or form now transformed by this realization or whatever, or affected by something that shouldn't be affecting you, basically. And I don't know, I don't really like it in terms of, and the norm becomes that this is going to be so much the case. What exactly, what are we even talking about? Why does it become so acceptable, basically? How did it actually happen that we reach a point in which, you have no saying in all of these things, and you have no capacity to express yourself in a proper light, and we cannot ever give you any assistance either? It's all of this is undecipherable, and you are bound to be lost, and you are bound to look from afar without interfering. You will have to, I kill myself, I am amazing. You will have to suffer. No matter what you do, you will have to suffer. And I feel like it's, beyond anything else, quite harmful to actually enforce so much. The other aspect that I was trying to go for is also because you don't even get to so much of leaving the process up to the person itself and nothing else has to deal also with the realization of, once you do that, we can both realize that by you doing so, I can also reach the wrong conclusions. I am free to think, but in the freedom that you're granting me, I didn't beg you my entire life for this freedom. You're giving me a freedom to entirely fuck up my existence. Your need to tell me that my will has to be free is also leading me to end up harmed simply because you chose to not give me any actual assistance in a situation which would have ended up being much easier to navigate as long as you actually gave me any kind of tool to deal with this, any kind of notion to deal with this. If I have to, by myself, understand what is a worth thing to wait for and an unworthy thing to wait for, and I don't do it in the right way, and the conclusion that I reach therefore is negative enough, how do you know even if what I am going to be thinking about, if what I am going to be in the end concluding is not really going to be harming me? How are we capable of saying, I am trying to say, I am trying to reach, I am making it way too long-winded. The simple notion is to possess the capacity to properly understand the things that are worth waiting for also gives you the other side of the fucking coin, the capacity to understand what are things that you don't have to wait for. So many things that don't require 50 years to happen. Some things that, because I was given the possibility, the freedom to do whatever I feel like doing, and the chance to live my life in the ways in which I conceived were the most proper ones, you also forgot that I don't entirely need that. I don't entirely have the necessity for that. I will be far more grateful if you can actually show me sometimes that, yeah, and these things, otherwise you could believe that they are worth letting so much of your life go by before ever engaging in, like, for example, in incredibly simple illustration, the whole notion of, yeah, you have to wait until you are much older to take care of your health, of any kind of health, of your physical, spiritual, mental, whichever kind of health you want to talk about. And you know how useless that thing in itself ends up being? How harmful it becomes to say, to enforce, to rule that as the norm, that, yeah, you know what, you can worry, you can try to think out this thing, but you don't have to. You have no need whatsoever to have this in your mind, and you have no need whatsoever to try even to picture this as something meaningful, to even have any assumption about or any notion of, to the degree to which in the very end, if you do fuck up, if we do harm you by letting this be, it is your problem, not mine, and it is your issue, not mine to deal with. And I don't know, I can appreciate a lot the capacity, the trust that you are willing to say you have in others, but at the very same time, how much of that trust is simply an abandonment of the next person, you know? I don't really care about what you're doing. Don't you come here fucking annoying me with the discussion, the conversation, the idea, the notion itself of, did you know it is actually quite hard to get to properly talk out this. It is quite hard to actually get to grasp if indeed I have to wait or not. So much of life has always been out the struggle towards the proper acceptance, the proper approach towards so many of the things that go on and so many of the things that just exist in this world and whatnot. And I can be quite grateful if I get to have any hand whatsoever in learning what makes things work and what makes things not be anymore absolutely annoying. Yet it almost feels like in the process of reaching this conclusion, I can very easily forget that you also deserve to be shown anything whatsoever, any kind of conclusion whatsoever about these things, any kind of guidance to be received, any kind of realization of I don't want to exactly say assistance, because it isn't particularly about, yeah, I am being mouth-fed, so to speak, the knowledge. It's not about that. It's not about the regularization of the capacities of others, because that's the easy way out, basically, of, yeah, you have to go through a course, you have to trust in me, you have to subscribe to my newsletter, and here we're going to give you a proper understanding of this problem. No, not talking about that. I'm not at all even trying to talk about that. I'm in a completely different way of, you know what's great? To simply have the capacity to say, yeah, these things which matter to me, they do so to the degree to which I can also realize that they matter enough for me to actually be quite willing to say, yeah, I can see how this works out. I can see how this plays any role in my life. I can see how this is quite useful to I fucked up. To actually properly grasp, to properly be capable of having an understanding about. I don't need to be anymore just wondering and without having at all the chance, the possibility, the interest in doing something, because I don't even know if it is going to have any impact, if it is going to lead to something, or if instead it is just going to be yet another meaningless part which I am going to engage with, which I am going to engage in, which will lead to nothing yet again. And the degree to which that gets condemned, the degree to which that gets taken as unimportant is, I feel like, unavoidably astounding. Life is not so hard, actually, when you don't have to be wondering so much about what is the quote-unquote meaningful thing to go for, when you don't have to be so absolutely clueless about what you want to participate in and what not, you know? Yet, in the other hand, the message becomes, no, we can try to do something, we can try to work on these things, we can try and we can believe that all of this brings something forward, but don't you dare worry about that, don't you believe, don't you for 1 second let yourself, also, I think I died, no, how did I not die? Because I have my goat, days. Anyways, I was saying, so much of what happens and so much of what ends up transpiring then goes through that very same filter of, yeah, we are trying so hard and we are trying also to make so sure that this is indeed the case and this is indeed what we get to gain and what we get to harvest and what we get to bring forward and what we get to... What? Since when were all of us so oriented towards the rest to this degree? How come now you are actually this absolutely caring out my condition, out my desires, out my anything to that point? Once again, also, can I place this anywhere? Did I lose the possibility of placing this thing? I'm going to cry very hard, actually, if you don't let me place this. Okay, there we go. And can I place another one here? No. I'm good. I got to have like one or two, so that's more than enough, I guess. And put this here, give me this, and I really wanna continue picking up bananas, I guess so, but life is so... I have to pick up bananas in a video. You don't get it. My suffering is multiplied just because I have to move my mouse around. Anyways, I was saying basically, and I don't know, I feel like it's so much of a struggle for something that, while it is present, it's not that, this thing doesn't exist. We are all just having a common delusion about the existence of this issue, so to speak. No, this is absolutely a real thing that happens, but sadly, it doesn't need to be. Why does it exist under that pretense of, yeah, it's so fine, brother, it's so acceptable for you, for me, for all of us, to be continuously demolished by this very same realization, by this very same present, by this very same aspect. What? It's a useless aspect of, yeah. This is indeed going to be harming us to a degree to which we are not going to be capable of actually managing it. And once again, the most important part, I believe it is understandable enough without any further clarification, but yeah, I don't want to spend my time waiting for things that I could otherwise just be entirely willingly doing. I am so willing to act in so many aspects of life. I just need to know which ones are the ones that I can actually do something in, something about. Not to be just cluelessly walking around without having any proper idea about, yeah, did you know we can truly try, in this case, in this manner, in this way, to do a handful of things related to these other aspects, related to these other notions. We can truly, certainly, honestly, all of us, try to participate, try to bring forward, try to this, to that, try in a way in which it makes things happen, and not need to. So much of life is waiting. I started the whole conversation with that, great, but so much of that very same waiting also revolves around the uselessness of, you have no clue about what you truly need to wait for. Sometimes so much of life is waiting for clues that you cannot in any other way decipher if it isn't through the mere act of waiting. You are waiting simply because you have to, unless you want to hastily move forward and end up failing on all your efforts because you didn't get to understand what was the thing worth waiting for. But I don't know, it's the constant dilemma of, then we can finally reach an understanding about this. Do you truly think that's going to actually happen? Do you truly believe we can at any point in time in existence reach an agreement about, yeah, this is actually how we can all talk about this, how we can all reach an agreement in what are the things worth waiting for, what are the things not worth waiting for, what are the things that you have to be so strong-headed about, what are the things that you can otherwise be far more willingly lenient on. And I don't know, it's to some degree, I guess it does feel, as always, like the useless aspect of, it isn't really that bad. There is a beautiful desire to make things look unsolvable, so to speak, completely ununderstandable from a general perspective. My life is so much mine that if I were to give you what would allow both of us to not struggle anymore, I would be misguiding you, and because you would be so willing to believe me, as if I actually was that important to begin with, you will also see that I'm hurting you, even if my intentions are good. And all of this is so repeated, so accepted, so told as the truth that the only logical conclusion that remains to be reached is, then what do we even try to do? What do we even try to go for? If in the end that you have decided to care for these things, that you have decided to express your interest in grasping, in properly observing, in properly understanding what has to do with your efforts, what has to do with your intentions, what has to do with not wasting yourself away in things that don't matter, has no actual answer, has no actual real way to be in any manner discussed in any realistic way said. Because once again, on one hand, you believe that you can talk about that, but on the other one, if we do that, we are all going to get almost in a almost caricaturesque way of yeah, you decide to talk about this, you are going to harm so much everyone around you, so much everyone who hears these things. What? How are we out of nowhere? Some days I was hearing people say how beautiful are the human capacities, and now the message becomes, yeah, have you thought about how useless you are in this world? Have you thought about how meaningless it is for you to worry about these issues? You just have to learn to sit down and never interact with things in any other manner than this one. And I don't know. I feel like it is bad. I feel like unavoidably it is bad. Also, I did get my free monkey, right? Did I? Yeah, I did get my 101 round monkey. Good. What do we do in Popawall or half cash, I guess? In Popawall? Also, no, wait. Perks? Social seasons to earn perks. What the fuck are social seasons? Contribute. How do you actually gain them? Actually, like, how do you get to unlock the perks? Here? No. Wrong button, actually. Give me a second. Wait. This. Faster cooldowns, Rains and Sanser, Anti-Gamon, Anti-Rero, Chip Starter. Understandable, so yeah, basically. Bouncy projectiles and Monkey Tycoon. Basically, you have to, no matter what, play play social like that to get the stuff. Understandable. Also, why do we have a medal here? Why do we have a medal in teams? What happened? I did the teams here. No, I didn't. That's why. Makes sense. Oh yeah, we can do the teams. No, we can't. I'm not going to do it. Not going to do the teams. I am here to not pay attention. I am not here to lose my time thinking so deeply out what's the right move. What's a cheap way to do things? I think the cheapest way is always with this one. Bro, I don't know if it is this one actually. Like 21s. I mean, it's cheap enough, basically. Yeah, we can do it, basically. Yeah, you can try to win. And also, I do have like the hero that gives you more cash than any other. So, well, no, I think if you learn to play the guy that Benjamin is the one that I have. The guy with the shop. If you learn to play that guy, you probably can get more cash out even from the selling stuff and whatnot. I'm pretty sure. But anyways, I was saying, I don't know. Like it's absolutely irritating, the whole state of, no, yeah, doesn't matter. If you care or not, if you get results or not, if you get to understand or not how to approach this thing, uh, life just continues. Life just moves forward. Life just keeps being it. I am quite happy when I actually don't get treated like nothing of what I do matters. Like when I get treated like the efforts that I am putting forward do mean something. Not the pat in the back that is, yeah, always are the right way. I can already see, even if you don't tell me anything, I can already look around and realize, but this person has also struggled with the realization of this thing. This person rushed forward for some objective, didn't take enough action when it was time for their goal, wasn't willing to act in accordance with what they desired, was too eager to make their dreams come true. I don't need you to patronize me and tell me that nothing has that much of an importance, that all things are great, that all the world is fantastic, that all my decisions seem to be as equally significant in that sense. I can handle. I am in the process of growing up. I try to be capable of handling things without being actually all that destroyed, affected by them and such. I supposedly can withstand the revelation that, indeed, actually, this is a way in which you can try to think about this. This is a way in which you can try to go about this issue, this desire, this revelation. And once again, all of this framed around the very notion of, we are simply talking about the acceptance, the reality that yes, indeed, you have the truth of these things don't truly get to report to you back that much of a satisfaction unless you get to not be overwhelmed by their existence. You get to not be over encumbered by them being such. You get to not feel as discouraged if you have to think about them yourself. You get to have a way of talking about things that doesn't make you feel like no matter what you do, no matter what you go for, all of those things seem to make no sense, seem to make no difference in the end. I am trying to become the whole notion of a grown-up, somebody who can deal with the world. I can handle that. You tell me, yeah. Actually, out this whole topic of waiting, of having patience and whatnot, maybe, perhaps, we can try to think about it as this thing. Maybe we can approach it from this angle. Maybe we can try to see it from this perspective. We can try to talk about it from this light. I have 1,000 examples to think about from way too many sides, in a way, because in the end, they all end up being about that very same thing of, did you know? Sometimes you actually have also the possibility of just realizing, of just getting to finally say, to finally accept that, indeed, my own desires are present to the degree to which right now, because I want things to happen, because I want things to come true, because I want things to be, I am willing enough to actually also make sure that those very same things, why does the house get buffed? What the fuck? Anyways, I was saying basically the realization of I also get to accept, I also get to withstand the sudden revelation or whatever you want to say it as, however you want to frame it as, basically. Indeed, sometimes I do require also some patience, some extra time, some necessary amount of acceptance towards the realization that indeed, this thing that I am trying to make sure happens, this thing that I am trying to make sure comes true, this very same thing also isn't entirely unsolvable, isn't entirely meaningless. Why? Because I can get that, for example, in the search of knowledge, it isn't so much about my inability, my incapacity to understand things. We can finally talk about it properly. It simply is how to still. I just need to have enough patience to be capable of going through the texts, to be capable of exploring enough things in time, through time, with time. I can understand things, but the problem is I can only do so as long as they make any sense whatsoever to me. And I don't get to make sense out of things if I don't put even a little bit of myself in trying to grasp that indeed things get to make sense, as long as I'm trying to make sure that I have given myself the opportunity to grasp them. Like, I cannot chuck down 20 books in 2 weeks even if they're about a topic that I am absolutely passionate about, simply because, humanly speaking, I don't give myself the opportunity to learn about those things. I don't give myself the opportunity to actually let that very same knowledge that I'm trying to insert onto my brain be cemented onto something that I can understand, onto something that I can say, seems to actually make some sense, seems to actually be acceptable enough, seems to actually be sensible enough, seems to actually work. I cannot make things just get inserted and get set on stone without any further addition. I need patience in itself is the root of many of those encounters of life. And I don't know, I feel like unavoidably, at some point, it does fall under the category of, okay, but what the fuck are you trying to actually talk about when it comes to the possession of enough patience? Because in the end, there are so many things to learn to deal with in a proper tempo. There are so many aspects of life that have to deal with that very same nature of the person can or cannot grasp that they have to give all the events a proper pacing, that you end up just talking about almost the entirety of life at some point, because so many of the things that we go through have to do with that, are inevitably seen through the lens of, but maybe if I did something in the right time, maybe if I did not do something in the improper time. So much, also, the whole notion of sometimes I don't even really require that much to worry, to think about all the other possibilities. I just need to understand what is the thing that I actually should be working on right now, should be trying to make sure happens right now. And that much already is sufficient for me. That much is capable enough of actually showing me where, how to do things, why try something, why not try something, and whatnot. Not the entire loss of, no, but it's all only about the positivity. It's also about the negative aspect in terms of learning to do less just to achieve stuff. The surprising realization that indeed, maybe I need to take things slower. But well, going back, the point is, and all of this gets talked out as if it was the worst thing to ever try to bring forward. You cannot ever get shown how to maybe approach this question. You cannot ever get talked out this thing as anything understandable. You cannot at all be revealed that a reality, and you cannot be in the moment. You can have some basic guidelines, but about so many other aspects of life, because they are so particular to us, it is impossible to ever give any sensible enough advice, notion, guidance, minimal, clear enough instructions, something to not make life feel so impossible to actually understand, so impossible to actually navigate, to the degree to which, and that's the point that I'm trying to reach, to the degree to which, more than anything else, the issue of, no, but this, all of this seems to never make any coherent sense. All of the hopes that I have, all of the things that I go for, seem to never work out. Do you know what makes most of the things that we hope for work out also? Have you ever tried to think that, maybe not being given such a hard time deciphering minimally, at a minimum, with a modicum of presence in itself, how to progress, how to move forward with these things? The complete absence, I already said that before, the complete absence of any explanation whatsoever doesn't make the problem disappear, just gets rid of the responsibility of having to say, I told you something that doesn't really work out. Maybe if you decide to believe on me, I fucked up your entire life because of that, and I don't want to be responsible for any of that. I don't want to have to think about that. You know that I became responsible, but neither of us have to even think about it, because that's not what should be your concern. As long as I keep making it be, therefore, this impossible to discuss, completely prohibited discussion. And I don't know, I feel like sadly, in this case, it isn't really that much of a valid argument, that much of a valid thing to say, to bring forward. It actually is quite a beautiful thing to have the possibility of saying, yeah, maybe we can try to think about it from this light. We can try to view it from this perspective. Some very basic pillars from where to progress. There are, one thing to say in regards to that. Luckily enough, at the very same time, sadly enough, because this has been present as an issue for so long, I am pretty sure nowadays there are enough places in which something minimally similar to this is being offered. But I think that the most important aspect is, even if it is still reliant on the capacity of the person to develop any thought, even if it is reliant on the capacity of the individual to get any conclusion, to get to any understanding and whatnot, it doesn't entirely make it be the necessary conclusion, so to speak, that yeah, you can also actually just not worry so much about it. At least the current world, in its interest to not bring forward the question about time, has allowed for a much more free structure. In itself, one of the problems that can be said does exist about this thing is that sadly, unavoidably, it is quite dangerous to talk so much about some condition that affects us humans so much, some condition that has so much to do with what we go through and whatnot. It is quite beneficial for us to actually also possess the possibility of simply saying, no, yeah, understandable enough, it is a concern of ours. But even if it is a concern of ours, we don't really have to die because we tried to solve the equation. We are still capable of simply sitting down and saying, oh yeah, maybe I can make it through my own methods, through my own analysis, through my own understanding, through my own grasp of the things that we talk about. And maybe even if it isn't the best solution that I find, it can be good enough to not represent an issue for me having understood that, taken that approach, having assumed that it was this other conclusion that I found was the correct one, and maybe, just maybe, all of that ends up being minimally healthy enough to the degree to which I don't have to keep on worrying. Maybe. It is a problem still. It's not, I'm not trying at all to say that, no, yeah, it's so acceptable, because indeed, this plays our life, but as long as we're not dying, it is all fine. No. It is still an issue. It is still an absolute issue. In terms of, in general, the existence of humans will be much simpler if we ever had the possibility of properly having conversations about this, if we ever allowed for the discussion of this thing as a real event, as a real thing to think about and such, instead of just relegating it to the realm of, no, you can only think about this from your own perspective, you can only see this from your own eyes. I cannot. We all live so much in our own heads that if I were to give you my view on this thing, I am going to kill you almost. No. We can actually sometimes be capable of handling so many of these quote-unquote relations, so many of these conversations, and so many of these aspects without being entirely shattered by all of that. But, I don't know. Anyways, let me drink some water. Having not this very same discussion already since I started, so I guess I made my point clear. Besides that, what else? I don't know. I did mention some of it before in terms of, and I have been trying to think about all of that education, all of the whole concept of, it falls to some degree under the very same frame of, you don't really have to study. In terms of, let me explain it under the proper light. You don't really have to at all have in mind the necessity that is to consume enough information about the topic that you have to dedicate your free time to grasp when you are going for any career. You can, with the very minimum, just accommodate all things. I am there probably, yeah. I should have spent even a little bit extra, but this mode is way too hard. I am not going to actually try and the 100 lives, the half cash, 100 rounds actually. What else? Do I want to do an impossible? I think I can do an impossible, like, it isn't really that hard. Is it? Really not that hard? Like, that's kinda a statement. I would pretty certainly not say this that is in, but we are free to fuck up, aren't we? But yeah, I was saying basically, I don't know, the whole aspect of education itself. I think I can also frame it finally in that other new light of so much of the freedom that you have being given from this. It's not even out, yeah, the average person is capable. It's not even a realistic conception. The whole, you don't really have to study that much to pass. You don't really have to put much of yourself to achieve things and whatnot. You don't really have to try that hard to be the one who does well enough and whatnot. There are, plural, so many layers of life that necessitate, that require, that benefit from the person itself being capable of admitting, of performing things in accordance with that very same aspect of, yeah, indeed, I myself am making sure that things are working out, that things are leading to the correct direction, that I am using my time appropriately to actually be in the known about these things that I have to later on demonstrate my not just experience, my proficiency in, basically. The message is you don't have to try. The reality is you don't have to try many times as long as you actually understand things. But you only can acquire this very same understanding. I don't know. I feel like, okay, yeah, this is something entirely different. I guess, I was thinking about it. This is probably one of the worst things to properly talk about, because for some reason it feels so, I don't know, I feel like either I missed that at some point in my early development of person who went to school, basically, the moment in which we got told that for the very first time, because after that I'm pretty sure I never got told how we all expected to know things. It just happened that, yeah, you know what, you're here, you're in this world, you are going to learn, you are going to be capable of grasping stuff, you are going to be in some way or another good enough to deal, to pass, basically, to not struggle anymore with this subject and whatever. Also, I think I have to put one of these. Do I? I don't remember. I will hold back. But yeah, point is, so much of the, you can finally get to pass your grades and move to the next year and whatnot, simply because you understand. But so many of the almost obligatory aspects that have to deal with, but do you understand how you can actually grasp those things, or are you just trying to force the knowledge to be present? It is still present within the conversation of time to some degree, because it has to do a lot, I believe so. It has a lot to do with the whole aspect of you don't truly need to worry about it if you don't realize that it is the case. You can only be capable of admitting that, oh my god, you can only admit the necessity that is to say, okay, I am making sure that this is present, I am making sure that this is working on, or this is working out. That has a lot to do with something that I like in many other instances to discuss, and that is the whole aspect of, okay, are we right now actually grasping the reality of, and have you truly made sure that the subject that you are studying for, the thing that you are trying to acquire knowledge about, is for you in its current form understandable enough, or are you just forcing yourself to learn about something that you make no sense of that you look at a page of this text that you have to analyze, this text that you have to consume in order to become a professional, so to speak, no? And in doing so, you realize something amazing, and that is all the things in front of you make no sense whatsoever. But you just have to keep looking at it until they finally do. And the magic quality of, out of nowhere, the realization will come forward. Out of nowhere, the sudden revelation will make itself present in your mind. The notion of, it also goes, as I said before, it goes along the lines of also what is the conversation about time itself. Because in the end it simply is, you need to waste so much of your time. You need to, quote unquote, invest yourself in trying so hard for something that you don't really know if it is going to actually lead to results. You have no clue of ever being aware if this is actually working out or not. But you have to make absolutely sure that you are giving your bestest, so that if it doesn't work out, after it didn't work out, now you have the possibility of saying, oh no, it's all so bad, it's all so... I tried my best, but it didn't give me the results that I was looking for. And I don't know. I reach the point of the conversation of, it's great to have so many possibilities. But on the other hand, the revelation is also, no, you're absolutely incapable of doing anything about this yourself, you know? So don't even try it. Don't even worry about trying something. What? Why is it so normal? You didn't get something? Give up. You don't get the concept that you're studying? Give up. There is no way for you to ever reach a comprehension of this. How come? We truly believe that. Why is that the case? Why is that the norm to begin with? How can that be at all really acceptable? Because I can have this conversation with unknown people, but I am pretty sure that if I were to say that to a friend, I will feel absolutely bad. I will feel like I am doing something wrong, like I am harming them. I can realize perhaps that I am doing something wrong when I say, you know what? You didn't get it the first time. Give up. Do something else with your time. If this thing seems to make no sense whatsoever, that's not for you. Go out of your way. Just stop being a nuisance for yourself, and look for something else that you can actually deal with easily. And that's what I feel like. I guess you can say it like this. The proper conversation out time also brings forward the sad realization that there are so many other values that go along with that. There are so many other values that make this possible in terms of, do you understand that if time is that precious, then it also means that sometimes we do have to talk about it properly as a thing that does require a lot more attention than what it is actually being given right now. Do we truly, in this current moment, grasp the severity of making light of anything that is associated with how do you approach learning then? Because you cannot simply approach it from a perspective of, you know what, I'm just reading things until they finally make sense. No. If you have to finally say, because here comes the final great revelation, if you have to say that no, indeed, you get to understand things as long as there is any other scaffolding present in yourself to make sense out of whatever it is that you are trying to learn. If that becomes so much of a reality, then the weight becomes, what are you talking about? Why? How come now we can properly say, yeah, you need to worry out this very simple scaffolding when before it wasn't even present. I didn't even need to think out what I didn't know, what I did not know to reach this very same conclusion. How can you try to tell me that this is significant now? Do you know how many times I believed I learned something simply because I made no effort whatsoever to actually learn anything? I simply assumed that I had a proper enough grasp about this notion, about this issue, about this thing, to the point to which it works out without any other reality, without any other substance, and that's at the very same time. The issue is a reevaluation of this brings forward also the conversation of but which things are we currently at present learning about that make no sense whatsoever to be learning about. Because if the implication, if the revelation then is, sadly, there are quite a lot of things that at current times we are letting be present in our minds, in our conversations, in our discussions, in our whatever, that we don't even understand. And the implication is that we have to abandon them. What remains after that? What remains of my life? What remains of my hopes, of myself, of my dreams, of all those things that I work for? What remains of all of those aspects? If now we start to condemn, or we're not going to condemn it, we're going to be still in a very free society, okay? We're going to be realistic enough about it to the point to which we understand that it is necessary to have a proper, a real capacity to talk out this, instead of just enforcing it to be the norm, enforcing it to be the stable enough thing to have exist, without any revelation of if this is in itself something that we can now actually say something about or not. And also, the other aspect is the sad revelation of, and what about the previous system of education where you don't even need to worry about understanding things? You just need to memorize things. You just need to consume so much information that later on you are going to get rid of, because you are not being shown how to grasp stuff. You are being forced into a system that wants you to acquire notions so that you can demonstrate your ability in dealing with them. And after you did that, you don't matter anymore for the sake of actually remaining present. What happens is, after you have done that, now you're free to let go of all of that information. Not from the perspective of you are free, but rather from the perspective of you don't require to have that information anymore. We never cared about these things that we made sure you had within you, basically. And that, at least to me, feels like such a negative way of approaching any conversation, any discussion that has to deal with, indeed, we're learning, indeed, we're progressing, indeed, we're making sure that things slowly get to be useful for us, be in some way, in some light, in some manner, efficient, it's capable of letting us gain something, It just becomes a mindless discussion of, no, it doesn't matter. If things do not truly seem to work out, don't worry. That's not the point, perhaps. What? But I don't know. I'm just surprised at many of those very same useless organizations of things. But well, I guess after all of this, I can say that yeah, I haven't thinking about all of that. Also, from the perspective of perhaps I am pretty sure it's quite useful to synthesize all of these things because I have to say, like, after how long? Almost 2 hours. I can admit that I'm sorry it takes me so long to express my ideas. It is unavoidably the conclusion of having to do it while being here in terms of letting myself take way too long to actually explain stuff and whatnot. When, yeah, I don't think I always have to. Sometimes I can agree very much it's proper patience to actually express things leads to an actual proper expression of them that is far more concise and not just understandable but also quite useful for the sake of actually having a good conclusion. So point is, I guess I will try to actually leave all of those things for the creation of something. I guess I don't know. I have been trying to slowly work towards that. I guess the very same conversation of things that should happen in them and whatnot. I guess it has slowly come closer to the time of saying, perhaps we should be trying to make sure that things get to be also left there. I think it's as much as I like it, unsurprisingly, so many of the things. Okay, you can put it into perspective. So many of the things that I say can be summarized quite easily. One hand, and the other one is also sadly, despite everything else, these things can also be quite easily forgotten. Even if they're important, they can also be quite easily forgotten. Sadly, so. Also, okay, we got our win. The question becomes, oh no, what? I'm not going to chimps, brother. I did everything on one map today. Besides chimps, wow. 3 mines? Did I want this? Yeah, I want this. I guess we can do one more map, probably. I don't know. I guess to some degree also, I think we're fine. I am feeling like a little bit, not sick exactly, but yeah, mildly consistent. So better to leave before it's too late in that sense. So yeah, point is, we are good enough. Also, wait. Over here. There we go. Amazing. But yeah, it was good enough. As always, I guess. Yeah, thank you for everything. I will try to work on all of that stuff, basically, at some point. It finally happens that you realize, I have to make sure that all of that is in order. So yeah, we shall work on that, basically. Until then, the only thing that matters is, as always, remember to take care, remember to be happy, remember to hydrate, remember to rest, remember to all of those things. For now, for today, we are ready, yeah. So, as always, thank you for everything, for the time, the patience, the interest, the support, the all. And yeah, whenever we can, we are getting back here. And even if we can't, still thank you so much for everything, and remember still to take care. So yeah, that would be it. Goodbye.